Welcome back to the Gateway to Wisdom. As we step into Proverbs chapter 14, we continue navigating the individual couplets of Solomon. This chapter moves from the marketplace into the home and the very structure of society. It acts as a detailed map, showing us how skill for living transforms our character, our households, and our nations. Today, we see that wisdom isn't just a theory. It is a creative force that builds reality, while folly is a destructive one that tears it down. The wise woman builds her house, but with her own hands the foolish one tears hers down. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 1. Solomon identifies the household as the primary laboratory of wisdom. Wisdom is described as a builder, not just of walls, but of the order, peace, and character of the family. Folly, by contrast, is its own undoing. The foolish person destroys their own foundations through neglect or vice. Ancient Israelite survival depended on the house as a fortress against chaos. In our present culture, we often prioritize external career success while neglecting the cornerstones of integrity and emotional stability at home. Proverbs chapter 14 verse 1 reminds us that we are either building up or tearing down our most intimate world every day. The mocker seeks wisdom and finds none, but knowledge comes easily to the discerning. The wisdom of the prudent is to give thought to their ways. Proverbs chapter 14 verse 6 and verse 8. Solomon presents a wisdom test here. The seeker's heart position. The mocker is unteachable because their pride and arrogance block the truth. They seek wisdom only to tear it down. The prudent, however, exercise foresight, the skill of planning and considering the consequences before they act. Today, we live in a mocker's climate, where cynicism is often mistaken for intelligence. Digital echo chambers encourage us to be wise in our own eyes, version 12, rather than seeking the humble discernment that leads to true knowledge. There is a way that appears to be right, but in the end, it leads to death. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 12. This is a sobering warning against self-deception. Human perception is often flawed and subject to reality rejection. What seems efficient or pleasurable in the moment can be a hidden highway to Sheol, a realm of sin and separation. Modern expressive individualism tells us that if it feels right, it must be right. Solomon challenges this present-day narrative, asserting that without the fear of the Lord as an objective anchor, our own compass will eventually lead us into the dark. The fear of the Lord is a strong fortress, and for one's children it will be a refuge. It is a fountain of life, turning a person from the snares of death. Proverbs chapter 14, verses 26 to 27. The fear of the Lord is defined not as a paralyzing dread, but as a deep-seated reverence and awe that results in loyal obedience. This posture creates a cosmic boundary of safety. It is a wellspring that provides the spiritual nutrition needed for genuine living. We often search for security in insurance, wealth, or politics. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 26 points us to a strong tower that technology cannot provide, a spiritual resilience that allows a family to thrive even in seasons of adversity. Those who despise their neighbors are sinners, but happy are those who are kind to the poor. Whoever oppresses the poor insults their maker. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 21 and verse 31. Wisdom is deeply relational and ethical. How we treat the weak and marginalized is a direct reflection of our relationship with the Creator. Oppression is seen as a theological insult because every person is made in the image of God. Ancient village life required mutual support for survival. Today, economic inequality can lead to social isolation. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 31 reminds us that common grace and kindness to those in need is not just a social duty but a profound act of worship. Righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a disgrace to any people. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 34. The individual proverbs culminate in a national principle. The skill for living applied on a communal scale creates stability and order. When a people rejects God's moral order, disgrace and ruin follow as an inevitable consequence. We often focus on political strategies or power dynamics to exalt a nation. Solomon argues that the ultimate health of a society is tied to its character worth, the collective integrity and justice of its people. Righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a disgrace to any people. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 34. The individual proverbs culminate in a national principle. The skill for living applied on a communal scale creates stability and order. When a people rejects God's moral order, disgrace and ruin follow as an inevitable consequence. We often focus on political strategies or power dynamics to exalt a nation. Solomon argues that the ultimate health of a society is tied to its character worth, the collective integrity and justice of its people.